I go back to my police car and pick up all of the guns that were locked in my car. And you more or less have every gun imaginable, going as far as to have 3 different kinds of assault rifles, as well as several different types of sniper rifle. But apparently you only need 1 shotgun. I would like to point out that shotguns are typically the firearm associated with killing zombies, so having less of them makes perfect sense in this game. About as much sense as 2 cops being armed with weapons so good that the US Army can't even afford to give them to their soldiers as standard issue. But this state can apparently afford to give them to the cops in bulk, to the point where 2 cops could not use all these weapons, yet they have them. Also, I can't tell, but is my cop now an army guy? Look at his arms and his gloves, what the fuck is happening? Anyway, then these stupid particle effects happen, and these emo fringe zombies pull themselves out of the ground. I just What follows is a rinse, wash and repeat of a group of shoddy, low-stakes survival matches where you just have to keep out of their grasp and try not to get mauled to death as you chase this purple cloud around the town. It's quite easy to be overwhelmed and killed, especially after you've just respawned, because the weapon selection is, like everything else in this game, shit. You would think that you could just select them from this handy weapons menu, but no, that's just a picture as far as I'm aware. Honestly, I've tried everything, I can't move anything on it, so that picture there is merely for admiration. Apparently, instead, you're supposed to use the arrow keys to cycle through every goddamn weapon you own. Yes, this isn't like Half-Life where every weapon is in its own category to make it easier. You have to cycle through every last fucking weapon that you own. And there's like 23 of them. Oddly enough, every weapon uses its own unique ammo type, and all start off on full ammo. This might sound like incompetence and overcompensating, but to give this game some form of fucking credit, it's making up for the terrible aiming and overpowered nature of the boss characters, to the point that you'll probably use up all of your ammo in 1 round of these half-baked survival stages. I don't know how that's actually doing it to their credit. I've said that they're masking incompetence with another form of incompetence, but right, okay. It might look like I just fucked up there, but I didn't. I think that should cover it. I'm Neo from the Matrix. No. Oh, speaking of the weapons, they all handle fucking terribly, and the muzzle flashes aren't anywhere near the actual muzzles when fired. Wait, what does the scar look like? It doesn't even have a texture. Oh, reload animation. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Also, when you look through the scope of a sniper rifle or some assault rifles, which I would highly recommend against unless car sickness turns you on or something, you need to press it with a tap rather than hold it, or else you'll zoom in and out in a loop. Also, the ambient noises also manage to get on my tits in this game. My favourite go-to example is this screaming girl sound, which plays in the background every few seconds to remind you, yes, this is meant to be a horror game. And I honestly thought this was coming from outside of my own house. Every bloody time I heard it, because it sounds like a kid playing in a paddling pool. It also fucking comes from nowhere in the game's world. It can't be traced back to any of the buildings. It's in the air. and it's annoying. You might be wondering at this point why I've given up talking about this game with any cohesion. That's because this game is so fucking boring. You have to fight so many zombies and it's not fun. The controls suck ass. I've seen every one of these idiot zombies in something else, especially that boss zombie. I've seen him in all sorts of asset flips before this shit. I almost quit the game because it's so shit and so boring. I was like, yep, I've seen everything. And in all honesty, it stops being funny so quickly. And then it just gets frustrating. And then finally it just gets boring. I honestly thought that this was just going to be the game forever. But thankfully not. No. I was fortunate because I reached the stupid cloud being.
Hey, wait for a minute. Who are you?
Hello there. Alas, someone has come to avenge my death.
I don't understand. Who are you?
My name is Serena. I was a human being, just like you, but now I am trapped in between worlds. I saw them taking Earth.
I don't understand. Who are you?
They are holding her in an empty swimming pool, and preparing to present her to the Demon Master.
I don't understand. Who are you? I won't let that happen. I will kill them all and rescue her.
In order to rescue her, you will have to stand up against the Demon Master.
Who is this master and why are you referring to it as the Demon Master?
Because he's the master of the demons, you stupid prick. What other name do you expect him to go by? The fucking janitor?
He is the lord of all these monsters that you have faced, and more dangerous monsters headed your way. They are his servants, and he is their master.
Right, so basically, you need 2 magical items to kill the demon. You need the golden fox and the silver tail, which are a gun made of gold and a bullet made of silver, respectively. Normally, I'd ask why the silver bullet couldn't just be fired from any gun and save us a trip, but as we've established in this universe, every gun uses a different type of ammo, so that answers that. So this shit becomes like Time Splitters or Darkest of Days, and we're zapped back into the past for the second level. Holy shit, this is actually kind of exciting. I guess this is where we should have a commercial break. Who's that zombie? It's that fucking fantasy zombie from every Unity asset flip ever made. Fuck! So, we get transported back into the past in this medieval stage, and this is where the visuals get even fucking worse. I said that because it is possible. Just look at this. Everything now has a sleek smoothness to it, like it's been laminated, and if that's not shit enough, the enemies now have no textures either.
Fuck my donkey.
I know that screen tearing is a thing that can happen, but it's not me. That is the game tearing up. So these are barrels. And, okay. I've somehow ended up in a worse version of Morrowind. Oh my god, I can't even... Oh, Jesus. Okay, this part of the game is actually giving me motion sickness. Congratulations, I didn't think it was possible for a game to give me motion sickness. But immediately, I'm looking all over the place. From nowhere. Oh, Jesus Christ! Typically, I back myself into a corner as a strategic thing in games like this and Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. Whereas in this crap, I literally am doing it because I don't know what else to do so that I don't spin around. Whee! I think Sony actually allowing a game that uses text-to-speech on its store is... Oh wow, the skeletons even look worse than the ones in Morrowind. Jesus. I'm not sure that I've seen these enemies before. I'm guessing they're also from an asset pack. I do kinda like them. I like their stupid faces. I then try to jump on the ledges above using my Hunter Punter ability, but can't seem to land on anything. Then I found the way, but found myself in an impossible position in which I was backed into a wall and couldn't get away from the textureless abominations as they attacked me and stopped me from moving. Yeah, apparently every weapon in this game has a paralysis enchantment on it and you can't move, and it makes it impossible to do anything whilst under attack. And it also came to a rather definitive end when even the Sky God showed mercy on me, and this happened. Oh my Jesus Christ, it happened! It happened! I'm not even falling! Oh god, it actually happened! And now I'm cursed to fall through this empty void of nothing for all eternity. Oh well, it's better than where I was. Thank you, Sky God. You saved me from this game. I'll never forget your generosity. Oh god, there's no way to quit the game. So ends my playthrough of Unknown City. Because that was the best thing that happened to me since I started playing it, and so I decided to say fuck it and quit. I honestly don't get what the fuck is going through Sony's head when they allow this dysfunctional, apocalypse-begging, nauseating failure onto the PlayStation Store. Oh wait, nothing. That's the only thing that could go through a human mind in order to greenlight this thing. Either that or a drill. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. Every single aspect of this is messed up to the point that I have no positives. Okay, well, if I'm gonna really try, I'd say that from a gameplay standpoint, the checkpoints are pretty decently implemented. Every time you die, you go back to the beginning of the area that you died and not the beginning of the stage. If I'm being fair, I'd say that the concept of the story is there, like it's interesting. The idea of a zombie plague being caused by a necromancer demon master of sorts does seem like a good concept in general, because most people often go for the lazy, oh, it was a virus thing. But this is a bit different, and going back in time to the medieval period, if that was the same town, also works for me in a Ratchet and Clank crack in time kind of way. Like, it would be cool if you could go back in time and change things to prevent this modern day version of the town from happening by undermining the Master Demon's power in the past. However, potential is only so much. There is a lot of potential in any flavour of ice cream, but when you realise that the chocolate is in fact dripping diarrhea shit, I don't think it matters what potential it had, it's still a shit sundae no matter what way you look at it. You can buy this thing for £7.11 with a PS Plus membership and £10 without one, though I wouldn't recommend either, unless it was ironically, I guess. or you were drunk and wanted something to laugh at. In all honesty, this game only stands out because it's on the PlayStation. It's not even uniquely bad in this day and age. If anything, it's hardly any different from something like Invention or The Slaughtering Grounds. Two games that use the exact same zombies and have a wide variety of problems caused by a similar amount of incompetence. I actually was going to leave this by giving these clowns the benefit of the doubt, assuming that they were trying to make a good game but went wrong somewhere and made this abomination instead. But I didn't want to give them undue credit or damn them unfairly. As a result, I wasted some more money on Super Kids Racing. This game looks a bit more professional than Unknown City, and it was the ultimate test to see if these people were worthy of praise in the slightest. Though you could quickly realise that it's 3 different games, and yet none of these games. The artwork makes it look like a spiritual successor to something like Penny Racers by Midas Interactive, and then the menus make it look like some sort of My Street version of Mod Nation Racers, and then when you play the game and see the level select, it looks like WRC 2001 on the PS2. And when you actually play the game, it looks like WRC Arcade, the downgraded PlayStation 1 version of WRC 2001 and 2002. In truth, the idea of this being a kids kart racing game about kids in homemade go-karts didn't seem like a bad idea to me. Like I suggested before, thinking that this was a go-kart racer game with the aesthetic of something like My Street, it actually had me interested. But this is just a shambolic mess of an asset pack. None of the assets work together, just like Unknown City, and the controls, whilst better in relation to the genre than Unknown City's was, I've played far better races than this. The camera button doesn't do anything as far as I'm aware, and from my experience, one of the speedy cars moves really slowly, and the kids' cars shown on the menu constantly fuck up and take flight for no reason. Of course, without these issues, you've got yourself a really boring rally racer that looks like it belongs on PS1 or early PS2 if I'm being charitable. Everything good about this game's aesthetic isn't even the developer's work. The first map, which is kind of charming, is from Unity's asset store. And you can bet your sweet ass that the cars are, as well as the racetracks. The tracks, the vehicles, and all the other aesthetics are mishmashed into a shambolic amalgamation of cartoonified things that are kinda cutesy and real-world WRC cars. I can't say that this is on the same level as Unknown Shitty, due to it really feeling like one of those games that Midas Interactive would have put out back in the day. And those games usually met some form of quality control standard. Usually. No, I've just gone round in a circle, for fuck's sake. From what I understand, they've learned from their last attempt at a racing game, with that horrible horse racing game, in which unlocks took a lot longer to get and you couldn't win with the equipment after a certain point, and you had to unlock more equipment to repeat the cycle again. The starting vehicle in this game is enough for you to win the game, and you can unlock enough coins per stage to get another car or unlock another level, so long as you remember to scoop the coins up. I couldn't tell you what these red diamond things do. They kind of remind me of those things from Rayman 3 to be exact, but they don't do anything. They serve absolutely no purpose. A lot like those red orbs in Unknown Shitty. They apparently gave me meaningless XP that I found no way to use. So, if it's red in one of these games, it's more or less fucking worthless. This game feels more like a 4 out of 10 affair than the 1 out of 10 that I would have given to that other game. Unknown Shitty genuinely gives me the impression that the game developer is trying to make a game that's decent, even if they aren't too good at it, and they are not too bad at making games. Looking at this racing game, it's functional. Still, my charity comes to an end once this stands with games like God of War, peering racing games like Need for Speed and Gran Turismo. I have to put my foot down and say that this experiment does not belong on the PlayStation Store. Honestly, I could stomach this on its own website perhaps, somewhere out in the internet, but the fact that it's being sold and is rather mismarketed as a game of competence is actually quite unforgivable. I know that the artwork is likely a placeholder or perhaps a Shutterstock image or something, but it's not very representative of the final product, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Unity engine itself provided this artwork as opposed to the nothing you would have got, especially given that YFT's horror game did not get the same treatment in regards to representation via artwork. To conclude, YFT doesn't belong on a storefront. Though I think it's fair enough that it keeps trying to make games of quality, I don't think that they're at the level that they should be charging money for these games at all. Hell, MDickie has only just been starting to charge money for his products over the past year or two, and in comparison to this, those are actually full games that work and can be completed. Please, if YFT or anybody there sees this, it's unlikely, but you know, don't release anything else on the PS4. Please go and perfect your craft. You simply are not ready for retail. Never mind the living room of every poor bastard who doesn't know how bad quality control has gotten nowadays. Oh, hello. Okay. Some weird fake. Well, that one's trying to do a run. No, you can't. You can't do this. I am your master. No. Go away. I am your master. You can't. No.